I think this is a film about loving yourself. Like really loving yourself for who you are, not for what other people think you are, and really finding your own identity. And I really hope that people watch the film and that they see that it is possible to throw away those like shackles of society or what other people think you are in their eyes, and really be who you truly are. And I think Ari discovers that, coming from somebody who thinks he knows who he is, has a huge identity crisis, and then ultimately discovers how to love himself, how to let go of his preconceived notions, his childhood trauma, and become the person who he always was.
It's okay.
What an incredible story. It has so much, which was intimidating, I won't lie. Typically in film, you have each individual character going through really like one, maybe two main issues. These characters did not. They had many sublines, many like stories that were blatant, but so many things happening underneath. What a story to hold, and what an opportunity I have as an actor to tell this story, and what a responsibility it will be to tell this story. And the first time I read the script, like everything evolves over time. So, but the first time it was definitely like, wow, what a beautiful story, what a heavy story, what an important story, and then the fears to tell it with dignity, to give it, and honor it properly. And then came the excitement too, that I was like, wow, I have an opportunity to really, and that's really my only goal. That's my why as an actor, is to tell stories that matter, and I really felt like this one did. So I've never seen this particular story about this particular subject told on screen. I think there's a big part of society, that community, that I don't know if it's fear from the industry, that people I think shy away from.
And the tension's coming here. I feel like there's a little dark cloud that kind of comes over this piece that makes you want to get up. And I wrote here. So every couple of years, I take that dive into research to try to see what might inspire me for the next film for Imperative Pictures. And by chance, going down the rabbit hole of many different topics, I came across conversion therapy. That was one of them. The other one that kind of struck me was surrogate partner therapy work. Both of those topics I'd heard before, but I would not say that I was very versed in those. And whenever I find a topic that is fascinating to me, and that I admittedly know very little about, I'm instantly intrigued and want to go deeper. So that's usually a good sign, but I also know that it's a topic that a lot of people have already heard about. It was important that we find a twist or an angle that had never been used when talking about conversion therapy. That was inspiring. We had something that we really needed to dig deeper into. We knew that we had to go beyond just the classic narrative that usually encompasses conversion therapy.
It's not a typical tale of conversion therapy or a typical tale of being LGBTQ, but it's very important because these experiences do exist. These experiences are out there. They are a different way of looking at it, and they are a different frame point for what people can look at when exploring their own sexualities and their own experiences, whereas not all survivors are going to have the same experience in this way. They can identify with it, and they can really dissect the feelings of the characters and what they're going through. And the same goes for any sort of LGBTQ person. We all have that kind of feeling of conversion therapy adjacent, right? Where it's where you don't go to conversion therapy, but you have these effects about conversion therapy, right? You have the knowledge that it's happening. There's a point for everybody in there, a point that everybody can really turn to and really connect with. There are therapeutic practices, people that have licenses in therapy or any sort of mental health or the like, psychology. You'll see them trying to use different models from Pavlov, Freud, different things like that, trying to use those and perverting them into something that's going to try and change someone's sexuality, right? You'll see that sometimes, a lot of the times, it's mixed with faith. Almost all the time it's mixed with some sort of faith to try and convert people to be, straight and cis. And then you'll see somewhere along the way, you'll see like parents, family members, friends or something just trying to pressure. It's all a big conglomeration of this giant monster that is conversion therapy. And so when we talk about conversion therapy, reparative therapy, any term that you want to use for it, that is what we're talking about in any of its different forms.
When I started writing the script, looked like one thing, and then as COVID unfolded during the writing process, I kind of put the brakes on everything. What was modern time going to look like? And when you're making a film, you're writing it 3-4 years in advance sometimes before it finally hits the market. So I try to develop a story and make it waterproof or make it durable enough that it could be in any world. I thought that was a fair challenge, but ultimately I had to place it in something. And I had to choose, like, okay, was I going to just go plow forward and say COVID never happened? Or would I indeed sink it into the world of COVID? And if so, what does the world look like at that time, in that moment? Or what would be a classic moment that we could all understand, and we could all say, hey, I was there. I remember that phase or that stage of the COVID world, and I can identify with that. Ultimately, I watched the entire film with what I eventually saw to be a safe version of the COVID world, which is sadly not so far off from some of the darker times of COVID, but yet still reminiscent of what we see today, 3 or 4 years after COVID. So I think that it'll have, I hope it'll be only a moment in time, a glitch in society, and we will look back on it and say, that was COVID, and it is no longer. But it's a wide enough window that people will not feel like it's super timely, but more relevant.